Welcome back. We are slowly making progress towards our eventual aim. We would want to print the 5 table. Right now, the way we can print the 5 table is start with 5 into 1 and then say instead of 1, 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. So what we are doing in here is we are modifying the statement that is being executed. In this statement, we are printing 5 into 1 is equal to 5. And over here, to make it 5 into 2 is equal to 10, we are changing 1 to 2. Over here, we are changing 2 to 3. How do we make it even more simpler? In the statements, we are using constant values. We are using literals. The value of a literal cannot change. This is 1. This is always 1. This will never become a 2. Instead of that, can we use something that can change? Let's say instead of 3, can I say use an index and a index over here. And based on the value of the index, the value of this statement might be different. Will I be able to do that? That's the question we'll be looking at in this specific step. So what would happen if I replace 1 with index and 5 into 1 with 5 into index and do it? Let's see what would happen. It gives an error. It says index is not defined. Let's try and fix this. Let's say index is equal to 2. What would happen? Let's try and execute the same statement again. I'm using the up arrow and down arrow to navigate. Press enter. Aha! You can see that index is equal to 2 and this statement is printing 5 into 2 is equal to 10. Let's try something else. Let's make index is equal to 3. What would happen? The same statement I'm executing now, it's now printing 5 into 3 is equal to 15. So what content this statement prints changes based on what is the value index is referring to. Over here, index is referring to a value of 3. Here, index is referring to a value of 2. How can you check the value that index is referring to? Just type in index. You can see the current value it's referring to. So the current value index is referring to is 3. And therefore, when I say print, it uses 3 as the value for the index. So here it prints 3. Here it prints 5 into 3, 15. And if I change index to 5, what would happen? It prints 5 into 5 is equal to 25. The index over here is what is called typically a variable. In Python, it's also called a name. So index is a name or a variable. You can see that the value it's referring to can change over a period of time. Here index is referring to a value of 2. Here index is referring to a value of 3. Over here index is referring to a value of 5. Now think about how you would print the entire table. So if I want to print the entire table, all that I need to do is start from 1, execute the same statement. 5 into 1 is equal to 5. Next, change the value of index to 2 and then print the same statement. Now index is equal to 3 and print the same statement again. So what we are seeing is with the same statement, with the same method call, with the same code, we are able to print different values. The index in here is what is called a variable. A variable is nothing but a name given to something. The variables make the program much more easier to read and it makes the program more generic in the sense that based on the value of index, this can print different things. So this can print from index is equal to 0 to index is equal to 10, whatever multiple of 5 that you would want to print. Now let's try and do a simple exercise with variables. I would want to create 3 variables. I would want to create 3 variables A, B and C. I'd want to initially give a value of 5 to A, 6 to B and 7 to C. So A is given a value of 5, B is given a value of 6 and C is given a value of 7. Once you create 3 variables with those things, I would want to print a output of this kind. 5 plus 6 plus 7 is equal to 18. Except that I don't want to use the constants. I would want to use the variables A, B, and C. Think about how you do that and pause the video in here. Now, let's look at this solution for that. So I said we would want to create A is equal to 5, B is equal to 6, C is equal to 7. Isn't it easy? Creating variables with Python is very, very easy. So A now refers to a value of 5, B now refers to a value of 6, C now refers to a value of 7. So print, what we want to print is A plus B plus C. 5 plus 6 plus 7 is equal to the value of that. So I would say, so 5 plus 6 plus 7 is equal to, we would want to print the value of 5 plus 6 plus 7. So if I'm hard coding, this is the way I would do it, right? But we don't want to hard code. What we want to do is we would want to use the variables. So what I'll do is we need to say format, and over here I can pass in the variables A, B, C, comma A plus B plus C. Will this work? Nope, this will really not work because it's not using the variables, it's using the constant values. How do I use the variables in a print statement? Think about it. The way I can do that is by saying 0, 1, 2, and 3. Let's print this, and now you would see that the same value is printed. However, we are using variables. How do you confirm that we are using variables? Let's change the values of A, B, and C. So I'll make A as 6, B as 7, C as 8. And let's see what would happen now with the same statement. It's printing 6 plus 7 plus 8 is equal to 21. You can see the magic of variables in here, right? So based on what values these variables are referring to, you can see that the output of the print statement is different. And that's the magic of variables. In this step, we learned how to use a simple variable. We saw that variables make the code much more generic and easier to read. In the next step, let's look at a few puzzles to get an in-depth understanding of variables. Until then, bye-bye.